All right, on that blank notability, Doc, I'd like you to just take this lead term of negative 2x to the fourth plus 6x to the eighth minus 11 and figure out what the lead term is. Figure out the degree. Figure out the ends. And I'd start with the right end, because you know if it's positive, it goes one way. If it's negative, it goes the other. And the left end is either going to be the same or different than that. All right. If you got fooled into using this, I forgive you, but that is not the lead term. Be careful. They're going to do that to you. Why not? Because it's not the biggest degree. Don't use that one. You got tricked. The biggest one is in the middle this time. I know, it should normally be in the front. That's going to be one of the questions. Is how do you write it in standard form? That should go to the front. But anyways, one thing at a time. Now you should know that the lead term was 6x to the eighth. Then the degree is the 8 part. That part's easy. What's it doing on the right side? Up or down? It's up, because that's positive. It's going up. If the lead term's positive, you might have been like, wait a minute, wasn't it negative? That wasn't the lead term. This is. And so since it's positive, it's going up on the right. And since that's even, they go the same way. Up and up. That's like 3 questions off your test right there. Do you get the lead term thing? It isn't always the front one. It's the one with the biggest degree. Do you get how to tell the degree and the right end and the left end is either the same or different? Do you get all of that? If there's any of that you don't get, would you ask me? Don't be scared. Any of this you don't get? Okay, that's a whole bunch of the easy stuff on the test. Now, here's a medium one. Y equals x minus 8, x plus 4, and x minus 1. This time, they wouldn't even say to figure out the lead term, but you should. The kids who write the lead term right here get a dramatically better grade than the kids who forget to do that. So take a second. Figure out what the lead term is, because that tells you the ends going up or down. Next, these guys tell you where it touches the x-axis. So Sam Lowe, did you figure out that it was x to the fourth?
Yeah.
You did? You sure you're not just getting suckered in by the teacher? Did you maybe have a different x to the something?
Oh, is it x to the third?
It is x to the third. Good. All right. Why? Well, because there's x times x times x, and there wasn't any squareds. Remember I told you the other day that if they squared this, it would raise the degree, but there wasn't any squareds. Okay, now, Sam, now that we know it's x to the third, what's the right end doing?
Down.
How would you tell that? I think you missed something. The thing in the front here, if that's positive, then the right end is going up. You should write that down for yourself because you didn't know it. Maybe it was just the pressure. Switch to somebody else for a bit. Henry Nichols, I think it's going up on the right. Do you agree?
Yep, because it's a positive.
Because that's a positive. Good. And if you're wondering what that is, it's a number, though number 1 technically, because there's no other number, so it must be a 1. And it's called the lead coefficient. So that's going up right here. Mr. Nichols, can you tell me the other end?
Yeah, the other end has to go down because it's not a
The degree.
Yeah, the degree is not a
It's okay. You know the right answer, which is going down.
Yeah.
And it's because the degree is odd.
Yeah, it's odd.
And you were also saying it's not even, which is the same thing as saying it's odd. Okay, good. So since it's odd, it's going down. All right. Now I know it's going to touch here at 1 and -3 and 8. if you don't know how I got those numbers, it was what made this part 0, what made this part 0, and what made this part 0. I could write a little tiny equation, x minus 1 equals 0, and x plus 4 right from here equals 0, and x minus 8 equals 0.
Wait, is it negative 3 or is it?
Uh-oh, did I miss something? That's a plus. Thank you. This right here, I don't know how on earth I got 3 out of that. I think that's the problem I had last hour or something. Sorry about that. Okay. And it is negative 4. Yep. I think last hour I had a 3. Weird. Negative 4. There we go. Thank you for catching that. It's important. I'm sure you weren't the only person confused. All right, now you just have to draw it right. What did I just do wrong?
You got the y-intercept?
Nope. The y-intercept is not important on this one. They'll tell you when it is.
The left side's going up and the right side's going
Yeah, this isn't supposed to be going down. Why not? Well, because the lead term is positive. See, if you look right here, that number in the front, that's positive. So it should be going up on the right. So it's not the blue one. It's like this red one. Now it's going up on the right, down on the left. The blue one was incorrect. I will now erase it out. All right. So far, that's all review. You've done all of that before. So what's new? For today, thankfully, I did tell you about this yesterday. So this last time we met. So this shouldn't be like super complicated. It's not easy though, so pay attention. Everybody write this. X minus 8 squared x plus 4. That squared changes tons of things. It changes the lead term. You know how I said to always figure out the lead term? It changes that. It changes the 8, you know, that it normally, like 8 is an x-intercept. It still is an 8, because if you put 8 here, it'll make it equal 0. But it does something weird at that spot. All right, let's just do this one thing at a time. The lead term is really important. Dice of Destiny. Should tell me. Lead term. It's row 6, person 1, and Keely, that's you. Is this going to be x to the second, just like last time? Because there's an x here and an x here. No, because you got this. What makes it not be to the second? It is to the third. Very good. Because of this squared here, that makes it x to the third. Cool. Now, Max, can you tell me, since this is positive, what does that tell me about my graph? Yep, the one up over here. Row 2, person 4. Claire, can you tell me what this odd number right here means? On which side?
On the left side.
Correct. On the left side, it's going down. Next thing is I need the x-intercepts. Row 6, person 6. Claire, can you tell me what x-intercept do we get for this part? Negative 4 is correct. So I'm going to put a negative 4 right there. It touches there. And, man, I like row 6 right now, but this is what it is. Josie, man, can you tell me the hardest one? This right here was an x minus 8. I drew over it. I'm going to erase that part right now just to make sure it's really clear. That is a x minus 8. So do you get that it's an 8, Josie? But what's special about it? It's squared, so that makes it bounce. I'm going to put a little b right there. It bounces there. The line doesn't just go through there. It bounces there. So you know we got this line right here, right? And it's going to hit this, and it doesn't just go through it. It bounces off of it. And then it's supposed to go like that, and it does. Everything else is normal about the graph. It has to go through the 2 spots, but it just touches this one and bounces off of it because of the squared. You think you could handle that? That's the hard kind, and that's the last new thing. Your test, even though we have 2 full days left, all day tomorrow and the next day, Wednesday and Thursday, your test, that's, other than maybe throwing in another negative in the problem or something, that's about all you got to know how to do. So let's see if you really got it. One more from the top. Y equals, everybody write this down. Promise, last question, as long as everybody's trying. Y equals negative 3x plus 4. Hint, that one's going to end up being a fraction. How do you know? Because you set this equal to 0. X minus 10, quantity squared. It's only going to say to graph it, and it might tell you some things that have to be on there, like you have to have the x-intercepts. In this case, we're not going to do the y-intercept. It would be just such a huge number that we won't do it on this problem. I'll just make you remember the saying. If we had to do the y-intercept, you just put in x equals 0. You know what? I'm kind of in a box because I told you this is the last question. So it's not that hard. You're just going to have to square 10. Find the y-intercept too. Graph and find y-intercept. And that way I think I'll have covered everything. All right. Row 2, person 6, photo. Can you tell me what the lead term is? Even though I didn't say you had to do it, you should do it. What about that negative? Negative 3. X to the third is correct. Nice job. And if you're wondering why it's x to the third, you probably missed the squared right here. Okay. Now that tells me a ton. Just from this, I know which way it's going to go on the right. You know, if it's negative in the front, it's going down over here. And since it's odd, it must be going the opposite way over here. Row 2. Bennett, you're next. Can you tell me, this spot is special. Can you tell me where it is? It's an x-intercept. 10. And it's also special because of that squared. Do you remember what I said that does?
Bouncing.
Correct. I'm going to put a little b there. So it has to bounce there. Now, if you just are like, oh, well, balls bounce like this. No, because it's got to be going down on the right, so it can't bounce that way. In math world, you can bounce either direction. Into the upside down, you might say. Okay, and then this part is tricky. If you volunteer and ask this one, I promise not to call on you for the rest of the hour. Somebody explain that. Mr. Nichols.
So basically, want to find the x, so y is 0.
So I go 0 equals negative 3x plus 4. You are correct. That's exactly what you do. You set that part equal to 0. So you set y equal to 0. And now I minus 4 on both sides. Negative 4 equals negative 3x. And then I divide both sides by negative 3.
Negative 4.
Oop. Wait. No, I think it's actually negative 3. I'm going to double check myself here.
Oh, yeah.
Because I want this to cancel this, right? It happens a lot, though. 4/3. Anybody verify 4/3?
Yep.
Okay, good. So x equals 4/3 was the key important fraction, and it's like, I don't know where 4/3 is. Would you agree it's pretty close to 1? So put it right around where 1 would be. But you can leave it as 4/3. And now you could put it all together. Has to hit here, has to hit here, and bounce. Has to be going these two directions, up on this side, down on that side. Can you put that all together? Okay. Bouncing into the upside down here. And then just passing through this one, not bouncing. Just keep going up. And I did say that since I promised this was the last question, that we had to figure out the y-intercept. So like that. That's a typical test question. It's not hard if you remember the saying, the y-intercept is where x is 0. So you put in 0 here and here, and you got to know this isn't negative 30, it's times 0, which makes that part disappear. When I put in x is 0 to get the y-intercept, I have 4 left times negative 10, but it's squared. Negative 10 squared is negative 10 times negative 10, which is 100, times 4, which is 400. I know it doesn't look like 400, but I was totally making up how steep that line would be. It probably would be way up there. In fact, we know it would be. That we can just label as 400. Don't worry, I wouldn't mark that wrong either, because this isn't far enough, you know. It can be any distance you want. You get to decide the scale. So I guess that's 400. How'd I get that? Because the y-intercept is where x is 0. All right, now you know everything. And now we'll review it for 2 days. I'm guessing we'll get a lot of A's on this test as long as you do your part. So what's your part for the rest of the hour? 2 things. Number 1, you're going to be working on your homework. And number 2, you're going to show me that screenshot you took of your schedule. And if you have less than the number of credits you're supposed to have, you're not in huge trouble or anything, but at the end of the hour, there'll be 3 or 4 of you. I'll have you come up and we'll talk about what you got to do to fix your schedule issues. And for today, all I need you to do is the odd ones. That's literally going to be like 3 questions. It's a little too small of an assignment tonight, but hey, trying to make it realistic. There is no excuse when I give you such small assignments to not get them done. Number 1. Sadie, could you read me number 1, please? I will call on you to read me number 2. Angela, would you read me number 1?
F of x equals, into brackets x plus 1, then
X plus 1.
then x minus 3.
Nice. Okay. Does it say in the directions that we have to have the y-intercept or not? Somebody looked? Yep, it does say find the y-intercept. Okay, so I'll just remember that I'll put in x is 0 to find the y-intercept. I might as well just do that right now. I mean, there's no reason I have to wait. That's 1 times negative 3 squared. Negative 3 squared means negative 3 times negative 3, and it's in a parentheses, so it's positive 9. I can just right off the bat know that it goes through 9. That'll be helpful when I'm drawing my little loops. Now, I did break my rule of always find the lead term first. But I'm going to do it now at least. I just get x to the 3rd. Do you guys get the same thing? Good. Don't forget this squared. If you only got x squared, you forgot that guy. X and then x squared. Okay. Then since that's odd, they're going different directions. That positive in the front means it's going up over here. And if it's really different directions because of that, then it's going down over here. And then the last thing I got to do is figure out, oh, it goes through 3 and negative 1. And I just forgot something really important. There's no way to do this graph the way I just did it, unless you remember that that squared one has to bounce right there. You do not have to write the b, but the line will have to bounce there. Otherwise, there's no way to make it work. All right. Have you got the first one mostly done? If you haven't, get it off the board here. And that's all I got for you for today.